So it became a big tease for him. It's so funny. It was so funny. But I can't remember why he put them on. But basically, you know what they are? The rag bandages
shoes,
around your hand. They used to make no noise. So it was almost like you're cheesing the game. It's like, oh my God, that's so try hard. And he did it in an event. And of course, I was in the sky. I was admin. Oh, I think I was shoutcasting it.
Yeah.
And I was in there and I saw him put them on and stuff like that. So I was in my chat going, oh my God, look what he's doing. Look what he's doing. So then that built up as you dirty try hard and your sliders. Now they're not as quiet anymore, but it's a really good one to wind him up with. Yeah. you just do it and he just loses his cool. It's so funny.
Welcome to Tardux, a podcast for content creators that come on and share their stories, experiences, and advice. And today I am super excited. I have HappyBombs. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you taking the time. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, me too. Finally we got it.
Well, life gets in the way, and this is not life and death by any means of anything. So, yeah. All right. So what we do first to start things off, we do 3 random questions just to get the flow going. Are you ready?
All right, go for it.
All right. When it comes to editing, are you a PC guy or a Mac guy?
I am a designer by trade, and I've always used Macs.
Yeah.
But I have a PC at home, and I have a Mac laptop.
Okay.
So editing now is PC.
Yep. Back in the day, was it Final Cut, or were you always like an Adobe?
I've always been an Adobe. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Second question: best thing about where you live?
Ooh, I am a 10 to 15-minute walk from the sea.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I can, if I manage to get up in time, I can go for a little stroll, go and look at the sea, and then come back.
Nice. Nothing beats the sound, the smell, just, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been away from the sea for almost 25 years, so it's nice to be back.
Excellent. All right. Third question is, what was the last TV show or movie you watched?
I watched a good film for a while, but we've been watching, just finished Wheel of Time on Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay.
Season 2. That was quite good.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, go on, that'll do.
All right. All right. So first of all, let's start with HappyBombs. Where does the name come from?
It's not particularly deep or anything. I think it was at the time when I think I made this account in 2015, I think. I had a name before that. I streamed, when I found Twitch, I kind of had a different name to start with, which had like lots of capitals, underscores and stuff like that. And when you start meeting people and they say, "Oh, what's your Twitch name?" It's like uppercase, lowercase, underscore, and it's like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. So after about a year, I changed it to HappyBomb. I think it was purely, I think there was a couple of things. There was a lot of stuff in the news, kind of what's happening right now, but there's like lots of horrible stuff going on. I thought, well, wouldn't it be just nice if we had HappyBombs? They could drop like chocolate and kittens and stuff, whatever, nice things.
Excellent.
And I think it was also my little stand up to the funny usernames that were kicking around at the time, like so and so 42069 and all this, drop shot. It's like, oh God Almighty, do something a bit silly.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so who was HappyBombs before you discovered Twitch and DayZ? What's your, where do you come from? What's your background?
Well, So I don't know how far we want to go back. I kind of grew up in Devon in England, which is where I am now. I've ended up coming back here, which is mad. But grew up in Devon, which is very countryside, and you've got Cornwall just next to it as well. Lots of coastlines and stuff like that. Very beautiful, rural. Kind of grew up there. Always knew I wanted to do something creative. I think I was one of those kids. I was lucky, I think. You know, when you're at school, you don't really know what lots of kids don't not you don't know what you want to do you? And
yep.
I think I knew from a very young age I wanted to do something creative or art based or something. So I think what you get at some point you have to choose subjects and a career part, and I was looking to see what there was in the career book that the teacher gave me, and I was graphic designer sounds pretty cool. I don't know. It's kind of, you can make a living out of that. So yeah, I just went, that was my path really from school. I left school, went to college in Devon, studied arts and graphic design, studied photography, illustration, printmaking, all that kind of stuff. Then I went to Manchester to study, kind of specializing in graphic design. And specialized then in typography as part of that.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, I managed to, and then I stopped studying, came back home to Devon from Manchester and was like, I don't want to do anything for a while. All I've done is study for so long since leaving school straight away. But so then I was in a band, like a local little band, silly thing, and I was just skateboarded and.
Oh, no way.
Dude, I was just like living like not doing anything, just playing music and skating and being with friends who I hadn't seen for ages and ages and ages. And then my girlfriend managed to get a job in publishing at a town next to us, and their art director was a skater, and I think I was working in a record shop as well.
Oh, these are all cool things.
Yeah, I wanted to do anything that wasn't design, I think, for a bit. I just want to kick back for a bit. Yeah, and the art director of that place was a skater and a snowboarder and stuff, and I'd never been snowboarding before. And I think I was starting to then, I think when I was at the record shop, I was like, maybe it's time now I try and look for a proper job, what I trained to do and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, and she got talking to him, and he kind of called me and said, "Oh, do you want to come dry slope snowboarding with me? You know, just hang out for a bit." And I was like, "Yeah, man, let's do it." And so I got to know him a little bit, and then he said, "Well, if you want to come in to do like a trial, like come and work in the publishing, do some magazine spreads and stuff, come and do that." They didn't have any enough desks at the time, so I had to come in at night time when they'd all gone home. He'd set me like a couple of spreads to do design layout. I did that and got my first job in publishing. So then I was kind of I am literally giving you the life story now.
It's all good. This is fantastic.
So yeah, I worked in publishing for, I don't know, 7 years, designing gaming magazines, I guess we call it soccer for you, but football magazines. So yeah, that was my first into like gaming as a profession, or you know, a kind of working with that sort of content anyway. We kind of moved around the country. So we were in Devon, then we went to Dorset, and then my girlfriend got a job in just outside London for Electronic Arts, EA.
Yeah. Oh shoot!
As a writer, so we were like, all right, let's move up towards London. I didn't have anything, but we moved up for her job and stuff like that. But within, I think it was 6 months. I don't think it was 6 weeks. I think it was in 6 months. There was a job advertised in the newspaper for a graphic design job at Sony PlayStation at their headquarters in London, which it was commutable from where we were living for her job at Electronic Arts. Went for the interview. I think it was weird because I'd always worked for more sort of independent publishers. Yeah. No corporate big.
Right.
But behemoth. So I was still quite
there wasn't a process for everything you do in that company, you know, as opposed to a smaller company. It's like you sort of do everything.
You do everything, yeah. So yeah, I went for the interview, then got called back for a second interview, then a third interview, and the panel got bigger and bigger as you go in there. I was like, oh god. But anyway, yeah, I got the job. Yeah, so I started at PlayStation in 2001 as a graphic designer to do games packaging. Sort of point of sale materials that you'd see in the store, merchandise, all those sort of things. But primarily, it started off as games packaging for games.
Yeah, and now were you pumped to be working for EA, or did you have a I guess prior to that, did you have a background in gaming as before?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So obviously, the publishing that I was in beforehand was gaming magazine. So I worked on a PC magazine, PC gaming magazine. I worked on a Nintendo 64 magazine, a PlayStation magazine. So I was always in and around that sort of industry.
Yeah. Oh, neat.
Always been a gamer all my life, sort of thing.
And now, how long were you at Sony for, or I guess EA transformed to PlayStation?
Well, no, she worked at EA.
Oh, okay.
I didn't work at EA. She got a job at EA first as a writer. And I got the job at PlayStation separate, so we were both working, separate companies. But yeah, I was at PlayStation. I left in end of 2021.
Oh,
so
shoot.
Almost 21 years. Yeah.
Wow. And now, inside of that, during that whole journey, what did you you started in the graphics, and what was that progression like?
It was good. Yeah. So I started off as graphic designer. Then I think I went to what did I do then? Graphic design manager after 4 years. Then I went to head of online and graphic design. This was it's changed a little. It changed a little bit towards the end. So PlayStation was we had sort of 3 headquarters, one in London. We still do, but they were very. We looked after Europe, the Middle East, some others. Japan looked after the Asian market, America, North America, Canada, and stuff. So we were all 3 independent sort of things. So I kind of worked my way up within the European branch. And then the globalization happened. So we became a global company. So the creative team that I worked in all of a sudden wasn't just doing... I had colleagues in America and Japan as well. So, and we weren't just doing stuff for the European market; it was global. So then, I guess I finished my career there as, what was I at the end? Group man. I was brand design, global brand design group manager.
Okay.
So I was in charge of, with another person, the PlayStation brand across the world.
Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah. And now, previously with the other sort of Nintendo magazines and whatnot, were you at that point managing people as well, or were you doing sort of, wearing all hats, creating and designing in all aspects? No,
so never wanted to be a manager.
Yeah.
That kind of happened. I'm very, it's kind of one of the reasons I left as well at the end, but it's kind of, I've always liked to get stuck in. I've always been a designer by heart, and it's that thing, the more management you take, the less design you do, and it's all about
managing people,
strategy and people and stuff. So when I was in the publishing on the magazines, I was art editor, and there would be a team of writers, there'd be an editor and sub-editor and all that sort of thing. So it's just a team. There's no like sort of managing of people. But I got into the managing of people when I went to like manager at PlayStation.
Yeah, but as a creator, now you're sort of managing other people who, in your head, you have an idea of how the designs should go. And now you're trying to sort of, okay, you can do that, but, passing those suggestions along. It's always unique to when you start managing people and whatnot.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was always the kind of manager that wanted... It probably was the detriment to me. I'd always put myself in the background and make my team shine, and they'd take the appropriate credit and stuff like that. And I'd always kind of sit. I didn't want it. You get that. You can get some managers that will take the credit for their team, sort of thing. And I hate that. I'm not that sort of person. But so I would.
The team reflects who you are, and then putting them in front lets them that makes you a good manager because you're just getting everybody involved and letting them expand and grow.
Yeah, I think so too. It obviously doesn't do great for your profile necessarily in a big company because you're not like shouting from the rooftops, look at me, look at me, look at me. But I'm not about that sort of thing anyway. So, but no, it's good. I learned to manage people, did all the, got qualifications in management and stuff like that. And but yeah, at the end of it, too much management for me and not enough design. So yeah.
All right. So we're going to take a step back. So when video games, when did video games start for you?
Very young age. I can remember, I think my first introduction to video games was my dad had a plug into the telly. I don't know what it was, but I remember it. It had the classic tennis, the 2 lines and the ball, but it also had this light gun as well.
Oh, okay.
And this black black screen, there'd be a white square going around, and you'd shoot it, and it was all plugged in. So I have no idea what it was. I have no idea what it was, but I remember that. That's probably my first encounter with games. Yeah.
It's amazing how you just described, 2 sticks as tennis and the ball was a square. And I'm right there with you because I grew up with that. And now, like, you show a rectangle. Yeah, that's our tennis player. It's like, you're mad is what you are.
It's funny, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Absolutely funny. And then, so when did computer gaming come into play for you?
So I guess I remember, I think my journey through gaming was probably that to start. I remember getting a ZX Spectrum 48K rubber keyboard, rubber keys as a joint Christmas present with my brother one year. And that was our first got games. I had friends around me, all the posh kids had stuff. I remember there being a BBC Micro at primary school as well, and I remember playing Horace Goes Skiing or something. But yeah, ZX Spectrum, and then I think we went. I had friends who was at ZX Spectrum as well, and they also had like Commodore 64s and stuff like that. But then I think we got a Nintendo NES. And then I think I got a PlayStation at some point, PlayStation 1.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always been, I was very late to PC gaming, very, very late. We'll probably talk about how I got into that, but I was always kind of console, always been on that console side, so Nintendos, Dreamcast, Sega, Dreamcasts, PlayStations and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. And then, so when did PC kick in for you? Like you said, it was later. Like, was it more of the college years or just?
No, at all. Found Twitch. I have no idea when. So I found Twitch and I saw a game called DayZ and Arma 3 Battle Royale for the first time. And I built a PC purely for those 2 games.
Oh, wow.
In 2014.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then, so that's sort of, you said you just discovered Twitch. When did you first, hit the go live button, or was YouTube first before Twitch?
No, never done. I was straight into just live streaming. Never did any videos on no YouTube. I'm still terrible. I don't find enough time to do videos and stuff, but I should do. It's funny because I hear people say, a lot of people come from YouTube first and then they start streaming and you've already got an audience and then instantly you've got an audience on Twitch. I never did that. So I started off with no people for ages and ages, months and months and months. Then you get one person, then, that person comes back. But yeah, I first went live 2014, I think, I think I mentioned it before. I had a different username that had lots of capitals and underscores and stuff like that. I did that for about a year, just streaming like once a week after work. So I started on Tuesday. I remember I used to do Tuesday nights after work, working at Sony. I'd come back. I was doing like a 3-hour commute every day for 21 years, dude.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so I'd find time on a Tuesday night. I thought, I'm going to try this. I'm just going to do it. So I first went live a Tuesday night, 2014, I think. Did that for a year on that account. Then I thought, do you know what? I'm going to change my name. So I changed it to HappyBombs and started again from scratch in 2015.
Oh, shoot.
So, yeah.
And now, what was the reason you hit the go live button? Just to try it out?
Just very... I'd obviously hung out. I'd found Twitch, found DayZ, I found Arma 3, and I was kind of hanging out in some channels. I don't know. It's a weird feeling being in. It's such a community. I know it's cliche, but it's just like you're in. I try and explain. I've met some family members over the last month or so since I've moved back, and I've not seen for 15 years or something. Wow. And they're now asking me what I'm doing. You're not at Sony anymore. No, I'm not at Sony. So I try to explain to them, and it's like, but it's all about, it's like finding a club or finding something that people are also interested in. And you say something and the person responds to you, and then someone else in chat responds to you. And it becomes incredibly addictive. I can tell you. And yeah. So I just wanted to try it. I just thought it was a really interesting dynamic. I liked the games that I was, DayZ and Thingy and Arma 3. I just thought I'd just go for it. Go for it. I don't know. Yeah.
And
see
now,
what it's like.
Over the years, what's been sort of, let's look at the, what's been tough about hitting that go live button sort of every day, looking back at it.
Yeah, I definitely have that sometimes. I get it now as well. Some days I'm just like, now, so like I said, I gave up my job end of 21. So I went full time from 2022, start of 2022. So I'm not even 2 years full time yet. Yeah. But when you're doing it every day, it was never an issue. I used to look forward to coming home after work at PlayStation and going to hang out with one or two people in my chat and just chatting and playing games. It becomes it's just really good fun, really good. It was never a problem back then. I suppose now, it's, what do I want to play today? What do I want to play today? Do I want to play that map? Do I feel like it? I'm a bit tired. But you've got to make yourself do it, aren't you? Full time, you have to kind of commit to. I try to commit to it like a job. So I do at least 8 hours a day, every day, apart from the weekends. Whether that's 10 till, whatever. Yeah. Or I start at 9 but I try to think of it as, right, this is my full-time job now. I'm going to go for it. Obviously you do miles more stuff out of those hours as well, but actually go live presence, I try to do at least 8 hours every day. So, but yeah, no, it's more just, I guess, tiredness or just not in the mood or something. Yeah. That's what would stop me.
And now, did you ever stream with the camera or always just, game content?
Yeah, no, I started off with a little cam. Now I don't really, I think you grow as you start off with, it's very different now than it was back in 2014, 15, but stuff on the screen, alerts going off and, flashy stuff and that. And there's nothing, everyone can have their own opinion on what it is. And I had, to a degree, my look of my stream has always changed so much, but now camera wise, I kind of have a camera on when I start just to say hello to everyone. And, sort of kind of face to face talking. When I go to the game now, I have no camera. If the server goes down for a restart or I'm going to go and grab a coffee, I might switch it back to the camera so I'm talking. So I don't really have a camera much anymore. But I did do. I used to have a little camera on screen. I feel like in a game like DayZ, I personally feel that the camera doesn't really do anything. I think people want to see the gameplay and see what happens and stuff like that. People might not think that, but I think that. And I try to keep my screen as clean as I can, not too much on it.
Well, I agree with you, especially from a DayZ standpoint. DayZ is about that immersion. You're in that, and having like a whole bunch of stuff on the screen, it takes it away from it. Whereas something like Tarkov is like you want the reactions of somebody who's getting getting crap scared out of them type thing.
Yeah, I think people like that in DayZ. They like to see your reactions, stuff like that, and freaking out. And I'm jumping and gasping all the time. And I've streamed a bunch of Tarkov over the years as well and stuff. Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. I think people do like to see it. There's no right or wrong way to set up your stream and do it. That's the beauty of it. This is just my presentation thoughts on what I want to show. But yeah, I think some people like it, some people don't, and that's a viewer. That's both viewer and broadcaster, I think.
Yeah. And now, over the years, what's been some of the highlights? Some of the like, wow, that was awesome, or can't believe we did that.
Within the game or just in general?
Just in general, since you hit that go live button.
Well, I think I'm really proud of, whether it means as much these days, but I'm really proud of hitting Twitch Partner while I was working a full-time job and only streaming 2 times a week.
Yeah.
So I would only stream Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I grew from that, and I managed to hit Twitch Partner, which is, it's not an easy feat. It's tricky, but to do that with not being full-time and only streaming twice a week for a long, for a few years, I'm pretty proud of that. That's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
And being able, I think I'm also, well, however long this lasts, but being able to do this full-time now, since 2022, and I work really hard at it, but to be able to do that, to wake up in the morning and do this, I'm very grateful for that as well.
Excellent. All right, so 2 things off that. One is the Twitch partner story. What was your partner story? How many times did you apply? Do you remember when you got the notification?
I think I applied twice. I think I hit all the milestone stuff, you do it, and I didn't get it the first time. And you never know why. But,
right.
Because they don't tell you. But and then I decided to just not bother for ages. I was still hitting the numbers and that, but I thought, you know what, I'm just not going to focus. I think you can get very focused on it, and it becomes almost over encompassing, trying to get that silly little tick mark. But and I don't know. I think I became a little bit focused about it, and I thought, you know what, I'll do it when it feels. I'm in no rush. This is just a hobby. This is not my. I'm not too fussed about it. And I just thought I'll just crack on with doing the streaming when I could.
Yeah.
And then I decided. I think the numbers are looking good again, and I don't know if I was doing some other stuff then that, because you've got to fill out this, like, why should you be a Twitch partner? So you've got to, like, it's like a job interview. You got to sell yourself again. But I don't know. I was probably doing some other stuff because I think I was helping streamers as well. That was something interesting as well. But I was helping people I was watching because I had the graphics and the branding background, professionally. I always said for my stream, if I can only stream once a week, I'm going to make it look as professional as I can and sound as professional. And, so at least when someone comes in, they're like, it looks good.
It doesn't look like somebody's out of his basement and, in a cupboard hole or something.
So I had those skills, and I was watching other people that were almost reaching partner and stuff like that. And they didn't have logos. They didn't have a brand and stuff like that. So people that I was watching, enjoy watching, I was designing logos and branding for them for free. Just like I could, and a few of them I'm not saying they got partner because of it, but all of a sudden their presentation looked a lot better. So, so I really, for me to create a brand for someone and a logo and stuff like that is, well, there's different levels to it, but it's not an impossible thing to do. I can do that. I know what I'm doing, and I can do it well. And so I was happy to help these people out and give it. So all of a sudden I had I could apply for partner again. And it was like, I've been doing this for so-and-so. So these little ticks, I thought so. But anyway, I went for it, and I think I got the email while I was working at Sony, just at my desk, I think.
And now the coworkers had no idea what Twitch was, no.
Well, I never told them I was doing it.
Okay.
I didn't, and I never told. I've only told when I went full time. That's the only time that people knew that I worked for Sony. So I never mixed work and streaming.
Yeah.
Streaming was purely hobby. Never told anyone I worked for Sony until 6-7 years. Never told anyone. Because I just didn't want them to any. They're not necessarily a conflict of interest or anything like that, but it was that there were just 2 separate things that I was doing. So, So yeah, co-workers. I think I told a couple that I was doing streaming, but I never told them my name.
Yeah.
I never told them what I was playing or anything like that. But
cool.
But yeah, it was kind of
And so you got the notification now. Were you like jumping for joy? Some people were like, they told their spouse, and their spouse like, okay, But
yeah, I was obviously super happy.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's quite an achievement, especially if you're not doing it full time or anything. But I think it was a mild smile in a very Englishman kind of way. Like, nice.
Awesome.
No, I was obviously happy. I can't remember if I told my other half or not. Probably told her when I got home.
Now, so I wanted to pick your brain on this. Coming from branding, designing, what is your take on where AI is now, and sort of like which camp people? You have people who are fighting against it, and people who are like, sort of embracing it. Just curious, from somebody who comes from that space as a designer, what do you think?
I think we were starting to use it a little bit when I was at PlayStation. We would probably use bits and bobs of it for. You go into a project. I worked on so many interesting, massive, cool projects for Sony.
Yeah.
And the amount of research that goes into before you're doing anything, concepting and research and stuff like that. Some of the AI stuff was really good for pulling together mood boards and concepts and ideas and stuff like that. But I think when I was studying design and stuff like that, we never really touched the Mac or the computers or anything. It was a tool. The computer was a tool to realize what's going on in here and stuff like that. So I'm still quite old school in that. I still think the idea and the concept and everything. I would personally love to do that stuff myself. That's the fun, the joy, and then bringing those tools together to realize it is probably where I'm at with that kind of thing. It's
a personal thing for
artistry,
you.
yeah, and the artistry and the skill and stuff like that. You know, I've seen some amazing stuff. It's just it blows my mind, and it is the future. Yeah. It is the future. It is going to go that way, but it's finding that right balance of the human, the emotion, the skill of a human.
Yeah, because an artist has their heart into something that they design, whereas AI is however you type it. There's no heart in that. There's no passion.
And I think that's that. Yeah, no, I was going to say, and that's from a big company point of view. So not just like someone like Sony or something like that. That you're obviously looking for time saving, cost saving, whatever it is. So it's more about I guess the process to get there sometimes can be not as valued as the instant, getting the result sort of thing. And I'm quite, if you know what I'm trying to get to, but I'm kind of old school. I like that. I like that process of concepting and trying stuff, and without failing and getting things wrong, and not every project's right, not every logo I've done, not every piece of packaging, not everything is successful, and
you learn from that.
Yeah, and until you experience that and do that, you don't want. I guess the worry is with AI and any sort of computer thing like that it's perfect every time, and that's. I don't know if that's a good thing,
not humans.
Yeah.
And now, you were just sort of hinted at some projects you worked on some really cool ones. What was one really cool project do you think? It was like, wow, that was a global launch of this, and what was one that you just like hit out of the park? It's like that was a good one.
Blimey. So I was not necessarily. It was quite cool that I was the launch designer for a couple of PS2's models, PSP, PS Vita, PS3, PS4. So I was the launch designer for all those products when they first came out. But I did a really cool one, and I think when I left PlayStation, some of the senior ones were going, "You did really well on that one." But, a concept for, I don't know if you ever saw it, but when PlayStation hit 20th anniversary of when PlayStation 1 came out, we did a PS4 that was a special edition. And that was my concept. That was my design.
Oh, no way.
So, yeah, I designed a console.
Oh, that's very cool.
But yeah, I worked on so many different things, like mad photo shoots, advertising.
Oh, shoot.
Football, Champions League sponsorships, and yeah, loads of stuff.
And now, with working with those those sort of brands and I guess events and whatnot, did that help you with the DayZ events that you've True Colors and things like that? Do you pull from any of that experience, or is it real? It's a different thing altogether.
So events and sponsorship, when I worked professionally on that stuff, it would be more the visual side. And, you'd have such a bit, events team and
True.
You do events as, we did some really cool, we did like a world championships in London Tekken event where I did, I think I've got it in a box somewhere, but we did, people from all over the world came together. I think it was Tekken 4 or something. I did a bespoke piece of packaging for Tekken 4 PlayStation 2, and every contestant had one on their bed when they went back to their hotel.
Oh, that's cool.
Only got it for them. But that was screens and tournaments and scores and stuff like that. But so from a visual point of view, I was doing stuff like that. But in terms of like DayZ events, no, there was none of that really. That's just me
having fun.
Just try it. No one was doing it when I started it, really. There was a couple people doing events back in, I think I did my first one back in 2017 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
18, something like that. I can't remember. But no, no one was really doing them to a degree. I think it was the Arma 3 Battle Royale, I think. And there used to be these cool, if you had certain rights, you could then do like cameras in the sky for Arma 3, and you're watching the event play out and stuff like that. No one had done that on DayZ at all, so I think that I did that in True Colors, the cameras in the sky and watching the action. And there was Survivor Games, which was a game the actual devs did with Soma and I think it was Brian. But the game is not made to do events at all. It really isn't. So you're trying to be creative in the way you can do these events and make them work and not go wrong too much. So no, I just did it. No real experience in it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So I want to step back for a little bit. When you were streaming and working at Sony, when did you get to a point where you knew you could take content creation or streaming a full time? Was it a gradual increase in your just viewers, or you just I'm done, I can do this full time?
It was, I think, I don't think there was a point. There's obviously an income related to how many subs you have or whatever, and to be honest, it needs to be so high to go full time if you're doing it. When I got to the end of Sony, and when I left, I kind of came, we don't have to go into why we left, but I was in a position where I got to the end of it and I just wasn't happy there anymore. I left, and I was like, if I don't try this now, I'll never know. Because I could go into another professional job with a big company, and just crack on again. But it was always like a little niggling feeling in the back of my head, like, if you actually did this if you actually did this every day and full time and put the effort in, what could happen? And it was just I spoke to my other half, and she was like, well, it can only go wrong. It can only, if you don't try, it can, and if at least I've got that to fall back on, if I want to do that, I could do freelancing from, I can become a freelancer or go and work again for someone. But it was just one of those, I wasn't necessarily financially ready to do it, but I was just like, if I don't go for it, I'll never know. Nice. I'll never know. So, but it's like I said, I'm coming up to 2 years end of this year from full time, and Yeah, it's going well. It's going well. We're, I'm paying the rent.
Well, that's the most important thing. And the other piece of it is you're happy.
Yeah. I really look forward to doing it and enjoy doing it.
Has there been a period, over those 2 years, like you miss that corporate space or that structured space, or, because, back in that space, you have your sick time, you have your holidays and all, your vacations, whereas content creation, you're your own little business, and vacations, sort of what are those?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's definite benefits to working for a big company, like, medical insurance, dental, like you said, annual leave, PTO and stuff, sick pay and, all that stuff. But so obviously that's huge, not having that stuff. And like you said, because you're self-employed, I get, you don't have, I've not had a holiday for a long time, but I miss some of the people. I miss that. I did a lot of travel around the world when I was working there. But I kind of did so much when I was, it's a long time, 21 years in one company and kind of getting promoted up into what I was doing. Traveled the world, done some amazing stuff. It was almost like, it's time to just park that for a bit and do just try something different. Because you like I said, you never know unless you try.
No, true.
So I miss bits of it, but I don't miss the corporate. I don't miss the corporate lifestyle. I don't miss the politics. I don't miss the multiple Zoom meetings and all that. And with the time zones in Japan and America.
Yeah.
So I don't miss any of the commuting, the 3-hour commuting every day. There's loads I don't miss.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Excellent. Well, and also, just it gets to a point like, travel. I've my normal job, and luckily with COVID, that sort of negated a lot of the travel. But still, I'm 50. I've done the traveling. I'm content to be at home, and that's it's a work-life balance. You end up sort of try and find.
Definitely. And I think I just got burnt out on that stuff, on that side of life as well. But you put so much into it for so long, and it's all encompassing. You get home, you leave for work at 7:30 in the morning, you get home at 8 at night, have some food, and you're just knackered, and it was tough. It was tough. It was
All right. So let's talk DayZ. What was your path to DayZ? How did you come across this game that now has, kept you playing the game for the last 5-6 years?
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know how I came across Twitch. I have no idea. I can't remember that far back, and how I got to the DayZ channel, I really can't remember, but I remember seeing it. And like I said, I wasn't from a PC background at all, and multiplayer as such. I used to play like SOCOM on PS2, which had some multiplayer, and that was really good fun. And that was talking with other people around the world and stuff like that. And, competitive. I was in like some clans and stuff like that, tournaments. But it was something I'd never seen before. Just this idea of you're plonked into this world. You've probably, all the DayZ people you've probably spoken to, but there's no instructions. You don't know what you're doing. You just spawn in with a rag, if you're lucky, a chem light and an apple, and now it's down to you. It's up to you exactly what you do now. You don't know where you are or anything, and then you'd see these interactions with other people, which are not AI. They're
right.
Not NPCs. Sorry, not AI. I've got to think about AI, but they're actual people as well, and just the comedy that I was seeing on people meeting. The camaraderie, the groups people were running with, I think it's changed so much now, but back in the early days of DayZ, you'd get like 20 people running around to get all these people running around.
Oh my God.
Mayhem pack of people from all walks of life all over the world. And it was just really intriguing. It was really intriguing. To a point where I was like, I need to build a PC and I need to try this game. It's just wild. And I've just carried on playing. It hasn't got boring for me. It really has. After all this time, it still hasn't got boring for me.
Yeah. Well, I've the DayZ people I had, Ariana was really the first DayZ person that it came on, and she described it as it's an adventure. You don't know what's going to happen, and it's like that's really it.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's you can get. I think after all this time, you can definitely. I've talked about this the other week on stream, but you can autopilot a lot when you know the map, when you know a map particularly well, and you know where to go and stuff like that. Obviously, the encounters, you don't know what's going to happen. Every town you go in, you've just no idea. But you can kind of pilot it from a while. But there are also some maps. I've put a winter version of one of a map live recently. You can't autopilot that because if you do that, you're going to get yourself in trouble with the elements and stuff like that. So you've got to really think slightly different of how you play it. Which is it's been every year I put this winter server live, and it's a breath of fresh air every year. I love it from the survival sort of side.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's you don't really know what's going to happen. You don't really know what's going to happen. You're going to die. You're going to survive. You're going to meet your new best mate.
Right.
It could be, you can get a revenge story from someone's been an asshole, and you got the revenge story. And of course, Twitch chat loves those sort of things as well. So you just don't know what's going to happen.
Well, it was funny. I had I think I was watching Deadly Slob one day playing, and his chat was, I was like, oh, what should I do? I met this nice guy, and chat was going nuts saying, kill him. I was like, no, I'm not good. It was such a funny encounter, and he ended up staying with this guy for 2 or 3 hours and had a wonderful adventure.
Yeah. I had one yesterday. I was at a water pump having a drink, and all of a sudden this guy was in front of me, and I just didn't see him approach or anything. And he didn't speak for a while, and I was speaking. I was like, oh God, you just scared me. And chat are going, he's talking to someone in Discord. He's talking to someone, kill him. I ended up just like not trusting him for no reason whatsoever, because chat were going, he's talking to someone. So I left and he left, and I was thinking, I should have teamed up with him. We could have gone off on a really cool little adventure. So yeah, definitely. And then chat are going, I told you to team up. Such liars.
Oh. Now, the other thing I've found, from a DayZ standpoint is, Tarkov, we have gear fear. In DayZ, it's stuff fear. Stuff that you need to survive is stuff. You don't want to die because you start from scratch again every time.
Yeah, I don't really get that. I really enjoy the looting part of DayZ, and I take every. I know what you mean with Tarkov. It's when the rubles are getting low, it's like I can't afford to lose this stuff. I'm gonna go in with a pistol. But DayZ, I take every character. I don't really play like base servers where I'm allowed to have a stash of loads of stuff, and I can get back there really quickly. I take every life as a new adventure a lot of the time. And I enjoy the gearing up part, because it can be a struggle sometimes. You can get the best start ever, which then you lose half an hour later or something. So looting in DayZ is what 80-90% of the game, to be honest. That point from nothing to getting stuff to to progressing. I think if you don't enjoy that part of the game, you're not going to enjoy the game. But so I don't really get gear fear. When I first started playing, I remember having that fear, and people come into chat asking that all the time. How'd you get over it? But I always say, like, it's not hard to get geared up again, and you might get something completely different the next life than what you had before, and it might just be as exciting as the one before. So
that's true.
I don't get that anymore.
And now, over the years, what's been the hook that DayZ has that keeps you coming back?
It probably is that uncertainty, and that you just don't know what's going to happen. And I'd say that the new, there's often mods on the workshop for it. You get some really, really interesting mods that you want to try out. Not necessarily like guns or clothing or vehicles and that, but just like really cool quality of life stuff that you want to try. And all of a sudden it's like, wow, that's really cool. So I come back for like, I don't mind trying that stuff out on our servers.
Cool.
Some of it's good, some of it's not good, but then just the interactions, the unpredictability of the game, I think.
What would you like to see them add to the game? What's missing? What changes would you like to see? to the core game itself?
There's a really interesting mod on the workshop at the moment that is playing with the zombie AI, how they move, how they react, because they're sorry, infected. I mustn't say zombies. I did a merch line recently called "They are infected, not zombies," just to take a little giggle at the devs. But they're not zombies. But there's somebody working on something at the moment which makes them a lot more interesting, I think. So at the moment, they're they're a part of the game. They're a threat in the game. I don't personally like them being a big focus of the game. I think there's other things, but I like them I like something being there that's a threat and you've got to think about, and you can't just stroll through everywhere. And but someone's making something really interesting. I think the devs are planning to do a big rework of the infected AI. But they've said it's not going to be until next year or something. But someone's doing something where they can break down doors, they can come in, they can climb on things because at the moment you can close a door, they can't get in.
Right.
Go out the other side, they're fine. Or you can climb on something, they can't climb up and get you. So someone's working on that, but also kind of the current ones they're almost like what would it be, homing missiles. So if they see you and you lose them, you go through a few houses, you go through somewhere, you lose them, they can't see you anymore. At the moment they can just home in on you. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they know exactly where you are, so you can't really escape and hide and stuff like that. This person in this mod is making something where they get confused and then they don't know where you are, and then they go on like a search mode for a while. And they go from house to house, smashing the doors down, looking for you. So all of a sudden they're a little bit more interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of just being this annoyance.
Right.
So I'd love for that side of the game to be reworked, and it will be. They've said they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Another side of it is I really don't like the base building mechanics in DayZ at all. I just don't. I think it's really ugly, and it's just weird when you see these huge fences blocking off areas and things like that. I just don't like that. I'd love to see a better, more interesting base building. Whatever it is,
because it looks kludgy now or cumbersome. It's like bolted on or something.
It can be exploited and all this sort of stuff. I just don't think it's clever enough or interesting enough for me to be interested in that side of the game. So I'm yet to be convinced by the base building side.
Now, the other, the benefit, the nice thing that DayZ and the community has is you have these the modding community that can, customize a server or make a mod for it, and you can create your DayZ server however you want it to essentially be. Yeah,
no, totally. We do that with Zero. So, I don't know if you know about that. So,
that's what I was just going to roll into. What is ZeroDay?
So how did that come about? So I've been involved with hosting servers for a while, and it's always come about from somebody in chat. If you're in chat saying or messaging me privately, just saying, would you like me to put a community server up for you? You can do what you want with it. And I had someone do that for me. I've no idea. Way before Zero. So I had like a HappyBombs community server from a viewer that was hosting it in their house. And it was, the beauty of that is that you can then, and what I've done with Zero is you can then make something how you enjoy playing the game. Let's face it, anyone that puts a server live is making it in a way that they enjoy playing it, and they want to play on something that they can, they think is a nice way of playing DayZ.
Yeah.
So I did that for a while with a HappyBombs community server. Again, I can't remember. That was probably like 2016 for a few years. And same again happened. A chat was in, a fellow was in my chat, messaged me, do you fancy me putting a server live for you? I came up with the Zero brand, the logo, the ethos behind it and stuff like that, what we wanted to do. And then, we put it live. And you're right. The modding side of it is, there's so many incredibly talented modders out there and lots of people say modding saved DayZ, and it probably did. It was in a place where I guess numbers were dropping a bit. People were finding it not as interesting anymore. I still find the vanilla side of the game with no mods. Yeah. I enjoy it anymore. I just enjoy the game. I just love the game. But there's definitely a side of people that prefer the modded side. And yeah. I think you can go as heavy on the mods or as light, a light touch on the mods to keep that. What I've always tried to think with Zero is I've tried lots of different things, and like I said, I'm not afraid to fail with the server and people don't like it. I tend to try and stick to my vision of it, but I'm more than happy. I've always wanted it to be a community thing. It's not just about what I want. So we have people recommending stuff and voting for changes and we can try this month, and we wipe the servers every 2 months, and I always think that's a good time to try something new, or the last 2 weeks before the wipe, we'll try this mod, see what it's like. And so we're always trying things and finding some really interesting stuff. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. The modding side is really cool.
Well, how would you describe Zero to people who don't know what it is, or just stepping into the DayZ community and instead of playing public servers, a lot of people talk about Zero. What is it?
So I try to keep, like I said, I do enjoy the vanilla side of the game, but there are some things that modding can do which definitely enhance that experience. So I've always tried to be, it's lightly modded, not too crazily modded. And some people, you can see a mod list and say, oh my God, there's 30 mods on that server. It's heavy modded. Some of it's just, it's just some clothing variations and quality of life stuff that doesn't necessarily make it a massively different experience from the base game. So I've always tried to keep it. We've gone at the moment again. So I go through phases of what I'm interested in doing or what the community likes doing, stuff like that. I think this wipe we wiped about 3 weeks ago. We've gone back to a much simpler approach. So no modded guns. Just gun skins, some variation on the gun skins. So maybe like a black Mosin rather than just a plain brown one. And it's more quality of life enhancements rather than heavily modded, real game changing mechanics on Zero. So it's definitely got that vanilla feel, the base DayZ feel, but with some cool clothing and some quality of life stuff.
And now, how many Zero servers are out there right now that you guys sort of manage or offer?
So at the moment, we've got Zero Namalsk, Zero Winter Chernarus, Zero Diral, Zero Essica, Zero Experimental at the moment for the current build of the new game that's coming out, the new patch. And we've got a rotating instance as well where I thought it'd be nice to. So we've got they're there permanently. Yeah. And then I have another instance where I like to put up old maps just for 4 weeks at a time, or a new map's come onto the workshop that's still work in progress, or it's quite far on, no one's played it yet, or there's not too many servers out there that are doing it. So I'm like, well, let's go and showcase this person's map. And we do that for 4 weeks and try it out. So it's a kind of rolling map that is up 4 weeks. Then we take it off. It goes in the pot. And we put another one up. And then if there's nothing much going on again, we'll go back to the original one that we put up. And yeah, so six instances, I think.
So, first of all, there's that stigmatism that, people who stream that's all they do. How easy is that? But no, you've got the extra stuff that goes along with streaming, the socials and, the branding and everything else like that. And then you add in Zero, which, where do you find time? Because I can't imagine that's with all the patches that need to be done and everything like that. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is a lot of work. I've kind of got, excuse me, the other guy that I own it with, he does a lot of all the kind of networking side of it, all the firewall stuff and making sure they come up and that. I do all I make them, all the XML, the loot tables, the map additions, everything else. So I do everything else. But yeah, you're right. I don't know where I find time. So when I finish streaming, I check Discord, see if there are any issues. Yeah. Check in with the admins and stuff like that. before I go streaming before I go live in the morning, I'm doing that as well. I think, yeah, it's something I'm very aware of, that I spend probably way too much time doing that stuff as well, which is detrimental to my to me streaming and broadcasting and making videos and promotion and stuff like that of my, because I don't get anything from putting these servers live. We don't charge it, they're free servers for people to play.
Exactly.
So
that's what I was going to ask you. Like, Zero is really, there's no income coming in from it. You're really doing it for the the joy of the community. And
people can. So we never had like a donate to help support the servers. We never had any for that for like 3 years, I think.
Yeah.
And people were going, how can I help run these? How can I? So there is something there, and you do get people helping the costs of it. But it's not it's not a money earner. I've lost money on it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm very self-aware that somehow I need to scale back on that and put more into the other side that actually is my job now.
Right.
But I need to find that balance. I know I do, but it's hard work. It's a lot of work, and you try to let people into the Zero team, building this thing and maintaining this thing. It's got to be like people you trust and all this stuff, because there's a lot of information and kicking around. So it's difficult. And I need to get better at it. The balance.
And speaking of the team and the community, how would you describe the HappyBombs community?
I don't know. We don't really have. I'm very lucky that I've not really had particularly toxic people in chat. You get the odd person now and again, but but I don't have like hundreds of. I don't have loads of moderators and stuff like that. And my channel is getting. I'm getting from before I started full time to where I am now. I'm definitely miles more viewers and things like that. So you'd expect, oh God, we need a much bigger moderator team. But I probably do. I probably do need some more moderators. But it's just, I don't know. We're welcoming, friendly. They're super generous to each other. It's just a fun place, relaxed. And super welcoming. Really. Yeah.
Well, and then how about, on top of that, somebody who's finding your stream for the first time, what kind of a stream are they going to encounter?
Again, I don't put on an act or anything. I'm the same on stream as I am when you meet me in real life, as you're talking to me now. I'm no different, and I it's not a character or anything like that.
Right.
So, just laid back. We're here to have a good, I'm here to have a good time with people and make them forget about their shitty days or whatever, just come and hang out. It's a bit of a family atmosphere, and, we're consuming this game together, something that we're all interested in. And, I tried to bring him along for the ride sort of thing, and,
And on top of that, when you're streaming, are you streaming sort of doing solo, looking for encounters, or do you ever like team up with other people and say, hey, let's do an adventure today?
Yeah, I played solo for. I always have been open to. That's like not the holy grail of DayZ when you're playing DayZ, but meeting that random person in game and going on an amazing adventure, and whatever happens, people dream of that who make YouTube videos, but it's good for people to watch as well. But I enjoy that as well. There's nothing better than going on those adventures with someone you've just met, and vice versa. So I met someone on one map once where I was really struggling at the start. I had loads of different sickness and ailments and stuff like that, and they had no idea who I was, and they just took me along under their wing. I had way more hours than them, but you kind of go along with, you want people sometimes to take the direction, and I know exactly what I should be doing, but you're like, right, what should we do? Let them take lead and, stuff like that. And they just took me on this amazing adventure where they got me better, and we hunted together, got into fights together, they died in the end. I survived, and I love doing that to other people I meet in game as well.
Yeah.
So I love that sort of thing. In terms of playing with people like
other creators,
about, like, and yeah. So I do. I didn't for many years. Like, I think not time zones necessarily, but because I used to stream in the evenings, there'd be obviously a pool of people that would stream at the same time. And now that I stream in the daytime, there's different people that play now. So I didn't really team up with anyone for years. And now and again I would. Now I definitely play with more people. So I play with a guy called Mr. OG at least once a week. Play with Amish Zed and OG sometimes on a Friday. I play with Joito sometimes. A lady called Jinxy.
Yeah.
We've had some team ups. Running Man now and again. Yeah, I don't actively go look. I probably should ask more people. I'm a bit lazy on that front. But no, I enjoy them. It can get. I like the one other person rather than two other people.
Right.
'Cause it can get a bit messy, and you're not.
Yeah.
I like to interact with my chat and chat to them about whatever. But
yeah.
I think chat can be very understanding. If all of a sudden the dynamic is three of you all talking in Discord and streaming at the same time playing, so I think they understand that you're not necessarily going to be catching chat all the time. But I like the one other person. Not all the time. I like my solo adventures. Yeah. I can entertain myself.
Exactly.
I'm quite happy with my own company.
Yeah. So a couple of things off of that is, the DayZ is a great game to stream for that one reason you were just talking about. Like if you're solo, it's a great opportunity. You have moments where you can totally interact with your chat, and then there's moments where like it's okay, give me a minute, let me take care of this, and then come back to chat. Yeah,
it's the perfect game for streaming. It really is, because you can shift W through a field, not look at the screen for a while, and you're just talking and talking and talking. You're talking nonsense, and then something will happen, and it's not like a 3v3 deathmatch straight in, or PUBG, play PUBG or Tarkov or something. You can do that. There's obviously going to be
moments, but
intense moments and downtime and stuff like that. But DayZ is the perfect game. It always has been for live streaming and talking and not necessarily looking at the screen at the same time. It's perfect for that.
Yeah, and when you're with somebody, Deadly Slaw brought this up as like, he's mainly a solo guy, but when he has teaming up with somebody, it's sort of like chat knows, hey, you guys are just along for the adventure today. Today it's me and XYZ, and that's the way it is.
Yeah, definitely. And you'll get with the things like the squad mode in Twitch now, where they can watch both viewpoints and choose which chat, and you'll get people in my chat be in the same chat as the other person I'm playing with, so they're kind of, they know what's going on and what's being said and things like that. So yeah, definitely. I think viewers, and I do as well, when some people are playing with someone else, it's fun to watch, isn't it? And it's especially if it's two people you like, know. And I think it's the same when I play with other people. If I say I'm playing with so and so next week, you get people going, oh, brilliant, you haven't played for ages, or you get people in chat saying, oh, when you playing with this person again? I'm like, I don't know, I haven't asked. But so yeah, they definitely understand that it's a different dynamic when you're playing with someone else, but I think they enjoy it as well.
Definitely. All right, so now before I even jumped into the DayZ space here, I didn't know there's a controversial thing with these ish sliders. Joito told me about them. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So what is your take on the ish sliders? I heard they've been nerfed though.
Oh my god! It was in one of my events as well.
Oh,
it was
no
in one
way.
of my events where it happened, where it started. So it became a big tease for him. It's so funny. It was so funny. But I can't remember why he put them on. But basically, you know what they are? The rag bandages
shoes,
around your hand. They used to make no noise. So it was almost like you're cheesing the game. It's like, oh my God, that's so try hard. And he did it in an event. And of course, I was in the Sky. I was admin. Oh, I think I was shoutcasting it.
Yeah.
And I was in there, and I saw him put them on and stuff like that. So I was in my chat going, "Oh my god, look what he's doing! Look what he's doing!" So then that built up as you dirty tryhards and sliders. Now they're not as quiet anymore.
Right.
But, so it's not as much as a tryhard thing, but it's a really good one to wind him up with.
Yeah.
you just do it and he just loses his cool. It's so funny.
And then I find out from, I think it was Ariana or Harley talking about, somebody said, "Hey, ask Joe about her cock." What? I can't ask her that. It's her
Massive.
rooster.
Yeah.
Massive. I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, she has a dead rooster. That's her trademark, I guess.
God's sake. Yeah. She loves a cock in her pants. Yeah, definitely. Even when I've played with her, we're struggling we've got nothing to eat. We've got nothing to eat. We're gonna die. We've got nothing to eat. She's got a bloody chicken in her bag. She won't eat it. She won't cook it. It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
You guys are all awesome, I have to say. I haven't had somebody on from the DayZ community that just, you guys just great people. I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good peeps out there. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So now, when you're signing off, you're not doing anything with Zero. You're not doing any editing or designing brands or anything like that. What do you enjoy?
What do I enjoy?
You have a background. You mentioned earlier, skating, snowboarding background, concerts.
Yeah, not for a while, but yeah, all of the above. I've still got my skateboard.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, I got rid of them. I haven't been on it for years though, but the knees have gone. The knees have gone.
Yes.
But yeah, music, definitely music. I like doing I probably don't do enough of it, but I enjoy cooking.
Mm-hmm. What is your go-to meal? If you're planning out a nice meal, what are you making?
It's not necessarily difficult, but I cook an amazing roast dinner.
Oh.
Roast dinner, all the veggies, all the trimmings, whatever meat. Amazing. I often do the Christmas fit dinner and stuff like that, the Christmas meal for everyone. But no, I just enjoy cooking. I used to grow my own vegetables and fruit and stuff like that. So getting my hands dirty in the soil. I enjoy designing. When I'm doing, I'm doing like merchandise designs or whatever. I enjoy that. My creative side, creative things. I think creative things are my bag.
Yeah.
And the outdoors as well. We've moved back to the West Country, so we've got the sea on our doorstep. We've got Dartmoor, which is like a big national park.
Oh,
and
nice.
Lots of fresh air and things like that. So, yeah.
Any new HappyBomb events coming up down the road?
Yeah. I've not done one for about a year. So I kind of stepped out of it for a while. There probably still is, but there were events happening like every weekend. It was getting very saturated, which is fine, good luck to anyone that does it. It's not easy. So I kind of took my hat. I was like, I'm just not going to do anything for a while. I'll let everyone else do stuff. But yeah, it's about a year since my last one. But I'm kind of waiting so there's a new patch coming for DayZ that reworks a part of the map for the first time in a very, very long time, years and years and years. It's got a really nice rework to it. So I want to build my event to finish in one of those new places on the map. So I've been working on it for a while, but then they said, the new airfield is coming in 1.23. So I'm waiting for that to drop for the stable version of the game. And then I can plan that event around that. So yeah, it's going to be this year. It's going to be possibly next month after.
And now when it comes to an event, how do you, what is your process from like concept to, we just, crowning the winners? How do you approach an event like this new event?
Yeah. It's something I've done before this event. It's kind of a mash between two, but I don't know. I always come at my events from a playing in it kind of point of view and from someone watching it. Is it going to be fun to play in? Are there going to be moments that are boring? Are people going to enjoy watching it and stuff? And I think it's definitely been a process over the year. Like I said, probably the first one I did was 2017, 18. It was amazing. Really went really well. Everyone enjoyed it. Lots of issues, problems. You work on it for the next one. You try and make it better for the next one after that. And then, so I'm always trying to improve them. And then obviously there are lots of other people started doing them as well, kind of similar formats. So then I'm like, is that format been done to death now? What can I do to make it interesting again and make it and put my spin on it again? So I'm always kind of trying to do that. And again, thinking of it, how it plays and the flow of the event, and trying not to have too much interference from the admins that are helping and stuff like that. I try and plan it so well and put everything in place that the event just flows from start to finish. But you don't even know there's admins and stuff like that doing it. So it's difficult. It's you have these big grand ideas and what you can do, and then you get into the game and it's like the game is not built for this, and there's no mods on the workshop that can do what I want to do. So I got to that kind of at the start, but you're trying to be creative and make things work as best as they can with the parameters that you've got to work in. So, you have too many players in one area in DayZ and it just goes, and that's no good for like an event where there's, I don't know, 20, 30 people fighting in an area and the server FPS goes down. So you've got to think of creative. Well, how do I do that then? Do I split them in two groups nearby and then they converge into another area? And you're thinking, okay, so the numbers will go down at that point, so you get less. So you're trying to work around. You're trying to think of how best to make the server work and the gameplay and the flow, and because there's nothing worse than these, playing or watching these events when everything just goes pear-shaped and it's just like, okay. Which is fine, I think people understand that it's a lot of we don't have any prizes or anything like that. It's just a fun weekend to play with friends or meet new people. Or I've always tried to do my events as well where it's, you might be in the next one that's coming up is going to be random teams again. You won't know who's in your event until you meet them in game. So that you could end up being, in a team with someone you watch on, it could be a broadcaster with millions of followers versus someone who's just starting their streaming journey on Twitch or YouTube or Kick or whatever, and they're in the same team together or something. And it's a really good, it's just a really good weekend to get people together for a good time. Really.
Nice. That's very cool. All right. Well, we've made it to the end of the pod. I really appreciate you taking the time. And like with everybody who's been on before you, I asked them to recommend or shout out or throw somebody under the bus that you think has a good story that would enjoy coming on and sharing it.
Ooh, all right. Here we go. God, there's lots of amazing people out there. I think you would. I don't know if you've had her on before or you've spoken to her, but I think she would have a good story to tell. Is my friend Jinxy.
All right.
She used to be a Tarkov streamer. Yeah. She's an intensive care nurse in Norway. She's from Sweden. But she finds time to. She's really into DayZ. She doesn't play Tarkov anymore, but she's DayZ now.
Excellent.
Partner streamer as well. So I think she would have a really interesting story.
Excellent.
That kind of work-life, family, gaming balance.
Excellent. And you know what? Her being a nurse, my wife's a nurse too, so we can talk about what healthcare is like over there versus down here in the States.
Sounds riveting.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, that sounds like a political conversation that you just don't even want to start.
Yeah.
Well, HappyBombs, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it, and it was wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you for asking me. Yeah, cheers, everyone.